the parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was the wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy and bless your heart. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. The Wardy, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the Wardy. Up on Weird Mountain, they've been getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just to hit and mash. Stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They can dish it out till there ain't none left. The party, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, you take it from me. The party, so come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the party. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up a jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Asheville woods, to the weird mountain gals neighborhood. Why, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. WYD, come and listen and see weird mountain gals on the party. It's them weird mountain gals on the party. It's them weird mountain gals on the party.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
Well, so we were going to talk about what makes Beltane one of our favorite Sabbaths.
Oh,
Or were we?
well, I mean, we were going to talk about it, so might as well. And it's also called May Day. So if you don't, Beltane is when it's a religious thing for pagan people primarily, but
Yeah.
people all over Europe, certainly in the United States, celebrate May Day. In some places, it's the workers' holiday. So we celebrate working class people, and then we dance a maypole, and we deliver little posies of flowers to our neighbors and friends.
Yep.
We wash our little faces in the morning dew to ensure that we are beautiful or handsome our whole lives. We eat strawberries. Strawberries.
I saw my first Strawberry Hill ad today.
Oh, how nice.
Yep, it's that time. And Beltane, I always think about your blood runs a little faster during that time. It's starting to wake up from the colder weather, I always think about that. That
Sap
people
is running.
Yeah. People at Beltane, they're not mad. They're not dancing out of anger. They're not, the people at Beltane, it's a hopeful and gentle and nice holiday as far as I know.
Yeah.
It always has been. So it's one to look forward to.
Well, it's a way to finally shake off the last of the winter doldrums and say, oh, here we are.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that Mother Grove is going to celebrate.
We are. But a lot of folks are celebrating this weekend, but we're celebrating next weekend on the 4th of May down at the French Broad River Park, which is also, oddly enough, World Labyrinth Day. And some feller is painting a labyrinth down at the French Broad River Park earlier in the day. So we're trying to figure out how to incorporate that into what we're doing. But that's pretty cool. We're going to have our own painted labyrinth down there.
That is cool. I love that.
Yeah. So that'll be good. I got to unwind the maypole and, dust it off a little bit and get all that ready. And then there's a thing happening, like a Beltane day-long workshop celebration thing at Raven and Crone on that same Saturday on the 4th. And I'll be doing a ritual for that event at noon, and then putting my skates on, run into the river park, and getting set up for that. Yeah.
Let me know if you need some help.
I will. I won't let you know. You're welcome to come, but you don't need to help because we got helpers. Because, oh my gosh, this is the big giant news. I've got big giant news. I had a root canal and, did 3 festivals back to back. The other giant news is that stinky, smelly couch that was in the temple.
Yeah.
Got moved out. We had a work day a couple of weeks ago, and one of our Circle of Council members came in with her husband, her little stout husband. Yeah. And he said, I got voluntold to be here. And I said, well, I got a job for you, strong man. So a bunch of us got that nasty little couch out of there. And just as we were coming out the door, there is a counselor that's across the hall from us. And she was, letting one of her clients out. And he was this young man. And I said, hey, have you got a good back? And he said, well, yes, ma'am. And I said, well, good. Help us move this damn couch out of here. And he just jumped in. And we got the couch out. And the deal about the couch was it had to go into the dumpster. It couldn't go just beside the dumpster. And by golly, they got the big old top of it off and got it in there, and it was great. And that was awesome. My big news. I got that stinky couch out of the temple.
The behemoth couch. Yes, it's been there for a long time.
It has been there a lot. We inherited that couch from the people who were there previously. And people have slept on that couch. People have peed on. It's just we got our money's worth out of it because we didn't pay nothing for it.
That's hilarious. The way you said that.
So good.
You have a good turn of phrase sometimes that'll stick with you. We're still.
The carpet is disgusting, but yeah.
Well, we're still every now and then we'll laugh. We'll go, hey, mighty hungry. Got any cornbread? You remember that episode? Oh, that was so hilarious. We were trying to remember the episode, and I'm relatively sure that it was the Granny Has a Bong episode.
Oh, quite.
Hey, I'm mighty hungry. Got any cornbread?
Well, I got to tell you, we ate going out to that thing that was near Memphis. Was that just last week before, whenever? 100 years ago, yesterday. Yeah. And there's a dude ranch and a restaurant that are Loretta Lynn. They're part of the Loretta Lynn empire.
Oh, okay.
But there is also this little log cabin restaurant. And I looked it up. We're on the road, and I looked it up because I'm starving, like I'm always starving. And I said, how about this place? Okay, so we get there. Some friends of ours are coming out as we're going in. And she just looked at me and she said, the food in there is amazing. And I was like, yes. So I had, hang on to your drawers, fried green beans, deep fried green beans.
What?
Like you do fried pickles or fried green tomatoes, except it was green beans. Those were the best damn things.
Really?
So good. Wow. And they served them with ranch dressing like everybody does. But golly, they were so good. And then coming back from that same event, I said to my buddy, how about we stop at that same place going out? And he was like, okay. So, and then I had them green beans again, twice.
Okay.
They were so good. And they had, it's something I love in diners. And this technically wasn't a diner, but they have the big case that's nothing but desserts.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Mile High pie that's like a pie with like 6 inches of meringue on top of it.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. The food. I'll post the name of that because I can't remember right now. I think it might have just been called the Log Cabin in
Wow.
Hurricane Mills, Tennessee.
Hurricane Mills. Okay. I sort of know where that is. Sort of.
And it's not too far from Nashville.
Mm-mm. Well, deep fried beans, I gotta tell you, that doesn't sound that good to me.
Well,
Because I
but
love green beans.
do you like deep fried food though? You know, a lot of people
No,
don't like it. Yeah.
no, really. I mean, I can eat it because it's always been around, but no, I really don't like deep fried. No, so I guess that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't eat a lot of that because, it's very bad for you. And I
Yeah.
don't cook a lot of it because it's messy and it wastes a lot of oil. So
I
I
would,
will,
yeah.
I sometimes will do like fried fish,
Yeah.
but I rarely deep fry a vegetable unless it's no, I'll take that back. I do eggplant. I do like to deep fry eggplant. But I love to eat it, but it's bad for me, so I don't eat it often. But I do
Okra.
love
I like fried
okra.
okra.
Yep.
And that's it. I don't even really like fried tomatoes,
I
if you
love
can believe
anything
it.
fried. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I love it all fried. Fried up. Fry some oysters, fry some scallops, fry some shrimp.
I did have some good scallops this week.
Tell a story. Tell a story.
Well, it's over at, I told you, it's Carrabba's, which is a franchise restaurant, and
I know.
that
I
I
just
don't
want you to
normally
tell
eat
them.
at. Uh,
Yeah.
they have something there called Spadino, I think it is Spiadino. And it's shrimp and scallops, and it's in this like a lemon sauce. But I get mine with all
Ooh.
scallops because why not? And and they have a really good salad there. Just a little Greek simple salad. It's very good. Um, so that's what I had.
Oh,
It
that
was,
sounds yummy. Did you have
yeah.
like some tiramisu or something like that for dessert?
I didn't want any. But what I
Oh,
had instead was they have this yummy, fresh Italian bread, and they bring it out
ooh.
with olive oil and with herbs all mixed in it, and you can just dip the bread in the olive oil mix. And it's like, nah, that's better than cake any day. Oh wow, it was so good. Just thinking about it, I feel like I should go back again.
We should have a big meeting of the Weird Mountain Gals and their entourage. Oh, that was
At the
funny.
Carrabba's.
The Carrabba's. It was funny up at App State because normally I do all that stuff by myself, and it was so nice to have my daughter and have my
Oh, I'm
husband,
sure.
and the two of them, they were my entourage.
Your
So she
outlaw,
was
your son outlaw?
no my husband and my daughter because my
Oh, okay.
son-in-law was working.
Okay. Gotcha.
So they carried stuff for me
Oh, wow.
and they made pictures and they made sure I didn't trip over things. It was
That's
great.
awesome,
And
Byron.
it was nice. We don't, as a family, because she doesn't live far away, 2.5 hours, but it's far enough that we don't get to do stuff much. So
Hmm.
it was a delightful.
I bet it
So,
was.
and what I was telling you, I think earlier, is that that was so wonderful. And then I'd built up this root canal it was like, all right. And then I got to go in for this incredibly painful, awful, terrible ordeal. I have not had a root canal in 50 years. So
Yeah.
my memories of it were not great.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
Oh,
It really was just fine. There were a couple of moments that were surprising, like when he
yeah.
was drilling. It was like, what was that? But I mean, my dentist is the best, and he made sure nothing hurt. Nothing
I
hurt.
try
I mean,
not to be jealous, but I am
well,
jealous.
he's really good. And
Yeah.
so there's the funny smell of when you're drilling through a tooth, there's a
Yeah.
smell. And the sound of it is not terribly
Oh,
pleasant either. But they did a thing. It was funny because the nurse pulled this thing out and she said, "Now, you probably don't know what this is. It's a dental dam." And I just looked at her and I said, "Oh, yes, ma'am. I've taught classes where we explained the use of dental dams." And she said, "Not for dentistry, right?" And I said, "That's right, not for dentistry." Anyway, so they hook this dental dam in so none of that stuff goes down your throat.
oh, that's so good.
And that was great. So they
Yeah.
took all that stuff out and I mean
Ah,
he did what he had to do and then they were unfastening me and he said, "Well, you're all done. Looks good. We'll come back for the permanent crown in a couple of weeks." And I went, "That was it? We're done?" And he said, "Yeah, okay,
wow.
okay,
Dang.
bye." So
I'm
I had built that up, and I'm saying this to just remind people that sometimes we build stuff up in our heads into something bigger and more horrible than it is, and that does not do us any good. I mean,
it
even
doesn't.
if it is big and horrible, to be fretting about that and worrying about that the whole time till it happens doesn't make it any less awful.
Uh,
But if you fret and worry about it all the way up to it and there was nothing to fret or worry about, well, then you just lost good time. You
right.
just lost good time.
You just spent some of your hours of life or moments of life fretting and worrying for nothing.
Yep.
I
I've been
wouldn't.
trying my best to hydrate more. And
Yeah.
that means I can't be drinking black tea all day because that is a diuretic.
I
So
know, and that's not fair.
it's not. So I had this wonderful tea, and let me give a shout out to this tea shop down in Pilot Mountain called the Grove Tea Shop or Grove Tea Emporium, something like that.
Yeah.
It is the most beautiful shop I've ever seen that was a tea shop. But in addition to that, uh, they gave me some tea that was blood orange.
Oh,
My God, that was the best. It smelled good, it tasted good, and
wow.
I've used the last of it up. So I think me and you ought to do a Weird Mountain Gals road trip down to Pilot Mountain,
Shoot, yeah. I'll
and
go.
we'll talk about Andy and Mayberry the whole way down there, and
Uh,
check out this tea shop. They're moving just down the block from where they are right now, which is going to give a little bit more room. But that place is just beautiful, beautiful.
let's go.
So shout out to them, to Julie
Yeah.
and Sam.
Yeah, let's go. Let's plan it. Let's go.
All right.
Check your schedule.
Well, I'm good till about the middle of June.
And then you're taking a big trip then, aren't you?
Well, I am taking sort of a big trip in June because I've been invited up. I think we are finally going to get me up to the Buckland Museum in Cleveland. We've been talking about that since before COVID. But
Wow.
they've invited me up. I'm going to do a little class for them. I'm going to talk to a couple bookstores and see if I can do a book signing and maybe another class. And then I'll go from there down to Wisteria for Appalachian Summer Solstice.
Which is one of your favorites to go to, right?
Yeah, I love it so much. I mean, I love those people down there, and I really love that event. And then I'll come back home, and then the next 3.5 weeks will be totally dedicated to getting ready for Cornwall. And
Wow.
we got people signed up, and I even know some of the people that are signed up. And it's going to be such an adventure and so much fun. And we are going to eat good food, and we are going to drink scrumpy, and we're going to go to the witchcraft museum. We're just going to do all kinds of cool stuff.
You should. Oh man. That
Yeah,
sounds
and
like
we're
so much fun.
gonna meet up with my Cornish witch friends, Tia and Cass, and it's just gonna be, I can't tell you, so good.
Man, well, one of these days I'll go with you.
One of these days,
One of
one
these
of
days.
these days, smack right in the kisser.
And that was who was that?
I I don't know. I know it from the Three Stooges.
Right,
Right.
kiss her.
But I'm
Okay.
sure it was. I'm sure it was probably. Oh God. These days, one of these days, it was probably.
One of these days, Alice.
Yeah, that's who it is. It's
Uh,
what's that guy's name?
that's why I was asking you.
The something something show with
Yeah.
Alice Norton and Norton.
I,
Yeah. Oh well,
I-
names are gone.
yeah. That's okay. Names can be
Somebody
gone.
will know, and they'll go, "Oh, you mean the so and so show?"
Well, wasn't it one of the honeymooners?
The
Wasn't
Honeymooners. That's it. Yeah, the Honeymooners.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So I'm much too young to know that. Yeah.
Well, I would say that, except now you're in your
Oh, that's
60s.
true. That's true. Ralph Cramden, that was his name.
Yeah, and Ed
Golly.
Norton and Alice and what's Ed Norton's Trixie?
Trixie.
Golly. Now, see, I can't remember, I can't remember the dog's name next door, but by God, I remembered all those characters.
Trixie. That's
Trixie.
when I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if I should really publicly say this or not, but
Well, you
when I
can
was
quote
in
it.
high school, I ran around with my best buds, and you've met one of them, Brian. And we had a long running and years long running serial letter that we wrote back and forth to each other, and we'd pass them to each other, and it became like a book. And the central character's name was Trixie. And Trixie started out, we named her, this is really disrespectful, okay? We named her after this teacher that one of the guys didn't like. And through the high school years, while we were writing the adventures of Trixie, she turned into a real slut, for better terms.
No.
And to this day, and they'd write funny things about Trixie being found in the janitor's closet or something like that. And I wish I could find that. It really was funny. It was funny and clever and really bad for a bunch of teenagers to be writing. But and
Teenage
I know which
porn.
teacher, but I'm not going to say which teacher because she's still alive. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we were twisted little youngsters.
Well, it's because we grew up in the country and there wasn't anything else to do.
Huh. Writing was not a problem back then. As I was cleaning out some stuff last week at mom's, I came across a letter that I had written. I forgot I wrote it years and years and years and years ago when I was a teenager, and I had really beautiful handwriting. And of course, my hands now, they don't write like that. And there's a couple reasons for it. But I was thinking, how long did it take me to sit and write that letter? Because the handwriting was perfect. I could tell that I'd been careful with the writing. How long did it take me to sit down and write that? And I had to put some thought into it and drew a little picture in it and all of that. I got as much out of writing it, I think, as probably somebody would get out of reading it. But nowadays, I would just convey that in with 10 seconds worth of a text, you
Yeah,
see. And if there's
yeah,
any art at all, it'd probably be some animated GIF.
right.
And so it's strange how things are, but because I can see the value now in doing it that way and sitting down, writing a letter with your own hands. You can't fake that. You have to think about it. You can't AI that.
No, but I think that had value to you to do it that way.
Yeah,
And I
it
think for an
did.
awful lot of people, that would have no value for them.
Interesting. Well, then okay, to each his own is what I would say.
I'd posted that thing in social media about a documentary that was done in the early 70s around here called The End of the Song, I think. And in it there were a couple of famous to us now ballad singers, and this kind of lamentation that was all done. Well, I mean, you and me both know beaucoup ballad singers, so it's not like it's a lost art. But I don't know how appreciated that is kind of on the big scale. But it doesn't matter as long as there are people that love it, like we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's more what you can expect that now. I think things are going to go so far in this direction that they're going that people are going to turn back. People already are. People like
Yeah.
you and me are already turning back and going, yeah, if I had my choice, would I live in this age? Would I live like this? What would I do? People are already making those choices, I think, but
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
very many of them.
Well, and I wonder how if there's more of them than we think because the media and the dominant culture is not going to tell us.
Well,
If
and
we
that's
find
true.
out,
And
right, if we're going to
I,
find out about people who inherit 100 acres of hill country and they fell their own trees and build their own log house, we might not even hear about it because it's not important to them that people know they did it. It's important to them that they do it.
right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, who knows? Who knows? I mean, now the things that you and I used to think were pretty common, and then some of them we were slightly embarrassed that we still used or knew about that custom. That all that stuff's in a Foxfire Museum now. It's all
Yeah,
legacy.
because I guess I'm old now. I just have to admit that. And I will, I'll tell some story about, yeah, and then the pipes froze and we had to walk down to the spring house. And I had a big old pot, mama's spaghetti cooking pot, and my brother had a milk jug. And, I tell those stories and I know I sound like somebody who was living in the Depression. They go, God, really? Was that before World War II?
Yeah.
No, it was not.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Funny, isn't it? Funny old life we live. But it's Beltane coming up, and I love Beltane. And I get to post one of my favorite memes on social media,
Oh,
which is the picture of a man that I love named Brian May. And
oh,
he is
yes.
there with this sweet look on his face, and it says, and once again, it's May.
Ah, oh,
I love him. He was my
yeah, he's the
favorite
man.
with Queen. And,
He's
and the more I know about him, the more I just love him.
he's the
He's a
man.
gardener.
He is the man.
He is the
I
man.
speaking of, I read a report about how they being some music enthusiasts analyzed some great male voices, and they through their analysis, and it went into some detail about what factors were considered, but through their analysis, they came to the conclusion that Freddie Mercury had the most perfect voice of
Oh,
any of the male musicians or vocalists. And I thought, well, yeah, that's probably accurate. And I
well,
imagine Robert Plant would be in there too, after maybe right after Freddie Mercury.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Freddie Mercury, what an amazing range and clarity. So beautiful.
well, and
Speaking of
who?
which, I ain't seen Freddie Mercury down at the house at Weird Mountain in a while, but I've not been out there very much.
Let me
But
check and see how he's doing.
But
It's
your little Phoebe birds are back on top of the porch light.
oh,
They
you
got
know,
another layer. Because I left that nest up for last year. They got another layer. They just built another layer right on top.
oh,
So they got
see,
a two-story nest now.
and now that's become their tradition.
That's right, because it's always warm under that
Yeah,
light.
that's a good place for them to be, you know. Um,
Crazy.
and I'm not seeing any information that Freddie's not with us, but Freddie's got to be super old by now.
Well,
I
and
mean,
it's been cold, and
yeah,
why would he be out if it's cold? So I'm
yeah.
sure when it warms up, if he's around, we are likely to see his stately majesty in his official chair on the porch at Weird Mountain.
I'm looking right now at their page, at your neighbor's page, And you know what? They're such a beautiful family.
They are, and they're so sweet.
They really
I
are.
don't see the kids much anymore because I mean I'm not down there that often, but the kids are old enough now. They got a life of their own.
They did. Well, they took them to go see the eclipse. And so I'm seeing all the pictures there. Wonder if they know we're looking at their page from time to time. But
They wouldn't
yeah,
care.
no, nothing about the kitty. Nothing about Freddie Mercury. Hmm. They've got, they have a new dog now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm ashamed to say that I can't remember their older dog's name.
Oh, I can't either. It was a pretty, dog name.
It was a standard
Yeah.
name. Well, they had a photograph of him and on here after he passed away, and it was like a professional photograph. And it was
Oh.
like, oh, I miss that dog. I like that dog. I always did. So, we still always have some good things. Kids and dogs
Mhm.
and stuff like that. That's hopefully always going to be around.
Ah,
Oh, that little
wow.
girl's getting big. Sorry, okay, I'm turning this off. I'm off now. I'm not looking anymore.
But looking at somebody else's page.
That's
Oh,
right. I
boo.
need to not do so much of falling down the rabbit hole on Facebook.
Spying,
It's a
being a
time
spy.
waster. Well, yeah, I guess that is fine. I don't know. I didn't mean any
No,
harm
it's
in
just
it.
check. It's just checking in on your neighbors.
That's
I,
kind of,
I
yeah,
don't have a lot of my neighbors are not friends on Facebook necessarily because we have our own Facebook page as a neighborhood, so I keep up with them over there.
same. We've got a neighborhood page for Avery's Creek, and it's wildly accurate about certain things. Like if somebody's lost their animal, chances are it'll get found on Avery's Creek, and somebody will find it for them. That happened just yesterday. If somebody is speeding too much, somebody will report them, describe them, and somebody will know who they are and will tell their mother. It's one of those pages.
I
But so
love
it's kind
that.
of cohesive. But that's my mom's neighborhood now. I check, because I used to live there and I check on it for her. My neighborhood. There's nothing. Nobody even knows each other. I mean, let
Isn't that
alone look out for each
interesting?
other. It's like a bunch of strangers
Oh,
living there. So,
well, I mean, our neighborhood is mostly pretty good about doing things together and working on projects together and all that. I can't fault them on that. But one new guy, I say new guy, he could have lived here 5 years. I just don't know who he is. Um, we were talking about an issue in the neighborhood, and he trash talked one of the oldest families in the neighborhood. He trash talked. He didn't like the way their place looked. And so me and another gal, my neighbor down here, we both said, we don't know who you are, but we love these people and they're good people. We love talking to them. And so maybe you maybe ought to think before you speak. And
oh,
he, to his credit, he apologized and he removed the comment. But it's like, who the hell do you think you are that you can move into a neighborhood and start judging your neighbors?
oh, it
I
happens
don't
all the time.
like the way that property looks. I don't like.
It, it,
It's
yeah,
not even
no,
business what it looks like. Don't look at it.
yeah, that happens all the time. I can't. It happens enough to where I got really sensitive about it. When I hear people start in like that, I saw a lot of folks at the hotel who were wanting to move here, and they'd come in and freely speak. They talk to the desk clerks as if they're nobody, and they would say, well, I love this house. We can afford it. We can get twice the house here that we did over in whatever city they were coming from. But man, what are you going to do about all these trailers and, stuff
Yeah.
like that? And
Yep.
why will they have a really nice house and a trailer right beside it? And it's like, I know why. It's because that's what their kids could afford.
Yeah.
That's exactly why. And, or maybe it's the other way around. And maybe the kids grew up there, did well, and built a home there and have their parents in the trailer. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter, though. My point is, they'd come here, and before they could even find the property they were going to buy, they were criticizing the neighborhood and the way that things were done.
Yeah.
and they were ready to change it. And
Yeah.
I've had several run-ins in business world that way. I had a client that I quit because of stuff like that. He was a businessman, and I just said, I'm sorry, I can't work with you. Here's your money back. And I've never regretted doing that either.
Good. Good.
And don't get me started. Hey,
Yeah.
I've got MCAS. I'm not supposed to get upset, don't you know?
Stay calm. Everybody stay calm.
Yeah, it's a good excuse for me. So what you doing for supper tonight?
I just was thinking about that because we're getting towards the end. We always talk about supper.
Yeah.
Last night, we may just have what we had last night, which was brown rice and sauteed kale and pinto beans with this yummy corn relish. But I think what it needs is some cornbread.
Yeah. Yeah,
I believe I will make a small pound of cornbread to go with all that.
everything is better with cornbread
Uh,
or chocolate.
Amen.
All
How
right,
about
that
you?
sounds
What
good.
you having for supper? You gonna have a sandwich? You gonna eat something big?
I think I'm going to bake some chicken thighs and
Ooh,
just
how
have
special.
some baked chicken thighs. Maybe no, I don't know. Maybe brush something on top of them, so that they're not so plain, and some sort of pasta and a little green salad. So
Mm. Oh,
no
that sounds
big
real
deal.
good.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does. But I've
every
noticed
once
that I've got to get my vegetables eaten pretty close to right away lately. You can't leave a cucumber out or anything, or it'll just go bad almost instantly. So that tells me we're getting warmer.
yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, isn't that the truth? I was just thinking about sometimes it's really lucky the store we go to they will have boneless chicken thighs, and that is so much good meat. Oh,
Mhm.
I just love it.
And it doesn't take, hey, it takes half as long to cook.
Yeah. In fact, if I cut it up, I can have it sauteed and ready to eat in about 8 minutes.
Do you saute it or you put it in the oven? I
I
might
do
have to
all kinds
saute
of things
mine.
with it. I saute it. I've been known to boil it. If I'm going to make soup, I'll throw some of
Mm.
that in some water and boil it up and then add the vegetables and all that. Yeah, we eat a lot of chicken. Not that we eat a
Yeah.
lot of meat. We don't eat a lot of meat at all,
Well,
but the meat
yeah.
we eat is probably mostly chicken.
I would say same here. Although we do eat some pork, but not a huge amount. But and
No, and
and
we eat
turkey.
pork too. And
Yeah.
and my preference, I love beef. I do love it. I love a good steak, and now I got my store-bought teeth. I can eat all that stuff again. It's
Yes. I did Atkins long time ago. I did the Atkins diet, and
uh-huh.
that's where you could put yourself into ketosis by eating so much protein that your body didn't even recognize the carbs that you had. So you could have an unlimited amount of butter, real butter, any meat you wanted, any you could have any as much milk as you wanted as long as it was whole cream, all the fat things. And one of the things that I would eat, I'd grill a steak and have blue cheese dressing with it, like Marie's blue cheese,
Ooh,
and
ooh, that
put
sounds
that on
yummy.
top of it. And so I could have a steak as big as I wanted, but you know what? That's an unsustainable diet. Nobody can do
Well,
it.
I mean, my God, what are you doing to your liver with all that?
Yeah, and it's just it's too much meat, and it's just I came to the conclusion that my body's weight is going to be determined by genetics and the amount of activity that I do and how much
Yeah.
fat I put in my mouth, because that's it. I could eat a truckload of celery and be thin, but I could not eat a truckload of chocolate truffle ice cream and remain thin, so I might
Well,
be
and
happier.
I'm telling you, if you ate a truckload of celery, you would not be thin, you would be sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I ate the chocolate that way, I'd be happier for sure.
But maybe
But you,
still
you
sick.
know, so I don't care what the fad diets are. That's what counts as your genetics, the amount of activity you have, and the amount of fat that you put in your mouth.
Yeah.
And especially the saturated fats.
And how your mood is.
You think?
Because I think our bodies, when we are happy and in a good mood, our bodies take care of everything. We put them in pretty good. And you got to be listening to your body. Sometimes your body will say to you, you need to have some chocolate right now, and then you should have some chocolate. You
My
shouldn't
body
have
says that
5
constantly.
pounds of chocolate, but yes, listen to your body.
My body's like a house cat over tuna. My body's like, giving me chocolate. I've never had any. I want more.
Ooh, yes.
Never had it, but I want more. I want more.
All right, get out of here and enjoy the day. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I will. And you too. And I will talk to you soon.
Y'all, thank you for everything.
Yes. And everybody, get a hold of us. We want to hear from you. So.
And we keep threatening to do a live with y'all, and we should do that, or a little Zoom with them,
I would agree.
With our the weirdos.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Love you.
I'll see you. Love you. Bye. Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Weird Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have. So I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.